Alright, so my name is Lee. Basically, we're going to be identifying different kinds of turf grasses, and in like a 10-minute lecture, the easiest thing, what I want y'all basically to do is be able to tell the difference between like a warm season turf species and a cold season, or cool season turf species. And then if y'all can, identify different species here and there, that's a little added bonus. But what we're going to do is there's 8 plots here. We're going to look at these 2 right here, and then these 4 over here. And looking at the handout that I gave you, those 6, we're going to be looking at the Kentucky bluegrass, the perennial ryegrass, the tall fescue, the fine fescue, and then the first 2 warm season grasses that are Bermuda grass and zoysia grass. And the first thing that we want to look at when we're going to be identifying the turf grass is the easiest thing, I would say, is the color. And this time of year, it's been cold for the last few months, so the warm season grass obviously not going to be thriving, and cool season grass is not going to have been growing crazy, but it'll still have a little color. So already we can tell that these 2 would be the warm season grasses, and that these 4 would be the cool season grasses because they have a little color. So already we're 2 minutes in, we're already experts on warm and cool season grasses. Next, we're gonna look at the texture, and the texture is something that y'all want to come over and kind of do for yourself. So knowing that these are the warm season grasses and that they're dormant right now, they're not dead, but they're dormant, they're going to be a little bit more rough. And I mean, you feel it right now, it's almost sandpaper. This one's going to be a little smoother than zoysia grass right here compared to the Bermuda grass. This is just something that is not the most scientific way of telling the difference, but it'll certainly help. And over here, if you guys come over here and feel these 2 right here, these are going to be a little smoother, especially this patch right here is going to be a little smoother. And that's just another way that y'all can tell the difference between a warm and a cool season grass. So already we've looked at color and texture, 2 pretty simple things that we've all been doing for years, and we can tell the difference between a warm season and cool season grass. Now in the summertime, it's almost going to be the opposite of this, where these will be brown and those will be green. Okay, the third thing, and this is going to be primarily to tell the difference between cool season species, is we're going to look at the blade type. And so if y'all come over here, this is a tall fescue plot right here, and y'all can see that under the cool season species. If y'all come over here, you can grab one of these, grab a green blade. And if you look at it, I have a magnifying glass if y'all need it, but the only one I have was part of my Swiss Army knife. But if y'all want to look at it a little closer, you can. But if you look at this blade, you can tell it's kind of wide. And if you look at it real close, you can see the veins on it. You'll see these veins. Pretty rough veins, a lot of ridges there. And that's a way that you can tell that this is tall fescue. So you'll want to remember that it's a wide blade, and that it has ridges. And the wide part is going to be important when you look at this species here, the perennial ryegrass. If we come over here and grab one of these green blades, it's going to be a little more folded, but it's thinner. And so if you compare the 2, the perennial ryegrass is a lot thinner than the tall fescue, and they both have the ridges and the veins that go down the whole way of the blade. Now with the warm season species, this isn't as crucial of identification characteristic because we already have pretty good ID features for these, which I'll get to next with kind of, oh my bad, sorry, did I step on your foot? Sorry. We'll look at the fourth thing, which is the growth habit. And now the growth habit is basically like you throw down some grass seed and what's it going to do? Where's it going to go? How high is it going to go? Kind of thing. And if you throw down some cool season species, they're going to grow straight up right, and you kind of know what you're getting. But you throw down some of this Bermuda grass or the zoysia grass, they're going to spread out. And they have some of these. Since these plots haven't been mowed in a while, this is helpful to look at. Right down here, you see some of these stems coming out like this. And this is kind of the spreading habit that these warm season species will have, which is why a lot of times you'll see them on a sports field because it gets good traction so athletes aren't slipping and hurting their knees and ankles. But Bermuda grass grows really quickly, so you'll see really long stems, and basically these shoot straight out of the plant, and we call them rhizomes and stolons, which are on the sheet, but we won't focus on the term so much. Zoysia grass also has some. It's a little slower growing, so they won't be quite as long and as thick, but you also see some of those here. And so that's a pretty crucial factor to the warm season grasses. Okay, so we've looked at the color, we've looked at the texture, we've looked at the blades of the cool season grasses, which helped us determine the difference between these two species. And we've looked at the growth habit for the warm season grasses. Now I kind of want to take you over to these last two plots. We'll kind of work through our cheat sheet here and see if we can identify these. And y'all help me out with this. So we know this is a cool season because it has some kind of green color to it. If you get down and feel it, the texture, you'll see that it's fine texture. Pretty much up to judgment. I'd say it's somewhere between, right, somewhere like a medium defined texture there. And the last, on the cheat sheet there, the handout that I gave you, the last section under the notes, that's going to give you some of the key characteristics to each of the species there. And so what we're going to look at here is we're going to pull up one of these blades, if y'all want to do this. And at the very end of the blade, it's going to have kind of a pointed tip. And it's subject to judgment. But I think it kind of looks like a little bit of a sailboat there at the end, and that's kind of something I use to identify the grass. And so looking at your handout there, what kind of grass do y'all think this would be?
You said warm season, cold season?
It's a cold season grass. There you go, Kentucky bluegrass, yeah. And so it's got a medium texture, it's got the boat-shaped tip at the end, it's a cool season grass, very good. And then the last one we'll do over here, and this one is one of the easier ones to identify because of the way the blade is. And if y'all look at the characteristic for the blades there, y'all might be able to tell what this is, but if you feel it, it's really fine texture. I mean, I'll give it away if I tell you, but basically it's kind of like pine needles, I guess. And so, looking at the handout, y'all should probably be able to tell what this one is. Yeah, that's right. And so, basically, from looking at, so what we did is we looked at the color and the texture. We looked at the different kind of blade types there are, which there's all kinds of different blade types. We looked at the growing habit with the stems coming out on the warm season grasses, and then, you know, there's key characteristics to each one, and I guess that's basically some of the easiest way to do it. So y'all have any questions? Yeah.
So where would you typically plant these things?
Yeah, so that's the most important thing, actually, knowing the difference between a warm and a cold season grass, because you wouldn't want to plant this somewhere in Florida, you know. And this particular species would grow well in the shade, but that's a little farther down the road that you want something like that. But you don't want to plant this in Florida, and you don't want to plant, you know, that grass over there up in Michigan. And so that's a really important thing when learning the different kind of species there. So.
What about like, you got pine, you got pine tree.
Mm-hmm. Right. To put underneath it, a lot of times people will mulch, but this right here, this grass grows the best in the shade. And if you're in a warmer climate, then the zoysia grass right there is a warmer grass that will also grow in the shade a little bit. But it also takes a lot of maintenance and care. So. Yeah, probably. I mean, with all that stuff falling on the ground, they're not going to be able to get sunlight, and you can really, a lot of times the moisture will stick in there and they'll get diseases and stuff like that. So.